Good morning, Kuhner country. Okay. Stunned. I'm not going to lie to you. Shocked, stunned, disappointed. I don't like to see this. Those are just my initial reactions yesterday as I saw what was unfolding practically in real time. That's what's incredible. It started in the Oval Office with Trump and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. And it just kept escalating, especially on social media. And within 24 hours, the historic alliance between President Trump and Elon Musk is effectively now over. It has been ruptured. It has been sundered. I don't think they're going to put this back together again. In fact, I can tell you this with absolute certainty. Sources within the Trump team say the breach between the two men is absolutely irreparable. Irreparable. People close to Elon Musk say they don't know how realistically you can walk any of this back anymore. So what began as a bromance and frankly as one of the most important partnership and alliances in the history of American politics. And let me just say this, because I'm going to come after Elon hard. And I think he was out of line yesterday. I'm not saying both sides don't have some blame. Yes, like in every argument or every feud. But fundamentally, there's no question in my mind. Elon crossed the line. He crossed the line many times. This went from a policy dispute. Remember, the trigger for this massive feud was the so-called Big Beautiful Bill. And I thought Elon, as you know, I was on the record about this. We had a whole show devoted to it. We heard all sides. I respect all sides, as you know. But my honest feeling is, on the merits of the bill, I thought Elon had a very strong argument. There's too much pork and way too much spending. Fix the bill. Well, it went from fixing the bill, which is my position, improve the bill, make it a better bill, to Elon waging a campaign, a political jihad, demanding kill the bill, where he went on X urging his millions, in fact, hundreds of millions of followers, they're not all in the United States, many are around the world, but urging his followers to call their member of Congress, to call their senator, to demand that they sink and tank and kill the bill. Well, that's an attack on the very essence of Trump's presidency. We're not talking now about, hey, there's way too much spending. Let's see if we can rein in some of this spending. That's, to me, my position, and I think a reasonable position. No, it went into, you want to talk about stabbing the president in the back. He went after Trump. He went after his big, beautiful bill. He wanted to sink it. He wanted now to defeat it. By defeating it, this is Trump's presidency. There's no question now. His presidency is essentially hanging by a thread. Why? Because if this bill, which is now in disarray because of this feud between Elon Musk and Trump, forget the feud. The bigger story is, can Trump now rescue his bill in the wake of this all-out political, this all-out political heavyweight showdown between these two men, and the damage it's done long-term, I believe, to the MAGA movement. You now have deeply divided camps. People seriously hating one another now. And I don't think it's the only people that love this are the Democrats, the media, and the rhinos. They are loving this because this is what they wanted. They wanted Musk and Trump at each other's throats. But when everything is said and done, it was Musk that called for the bill to be killed. Trump went to the Oval Office meeting with Chancellor Merz, the German Chancellor, and was asked about, Elon, and not just has criticisms of the bill. He's saying the whole thing's got to go now. Well, if this bill doesn't pass, you're talking about $4.5 trillion in massive tax increases on everybody. Our taxes are going to go through the roof. It is going to drive the economy into a recession. Everything that Trump promised and campaigned on is in essence in the bill. Extending, making permanent the tax cuts. It's in the bill. No taxes on tips, in the bill. No taxes on overtime, in the bill. Massive support for the wall, for border security. Hiring border patrol agents, thousands of them, for these mass deportations. It's in the bill. Rebuilding our military. It's in the bill. So everything that Trump said he was going to achieve for the golden era of MAGA and his presidency is in this bill. This bill goes down in flames. Trump's presidency now is imploding in front of our eyes. So, of course, Trump is now going to come out against Elon and hit him hard. But I want to say this about Elon, because this needs to be said, to be fair to him. He campaigned for Donald Trump. He put his personal fortune at stake. He literally spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in very key battleground states, frankly, like Pennsylvania, that I believe helped Trump win the election. He restored freedom of speech on X, which was crucial to countering the lies and propaganda from the fake news media. So he went in with Doge, and I thought the work that he did at Doge was absolutely incredible. The corruption, the waste, the fraud, the abuse that he uncovered. My God, big government will never recover. The swamp will never recover if they can follow up on everything that he exposed. So I'm not going to stand there and say that this man is not a great businessman. He is. He's not a great American. He's not a great entrepreneur. He wasn't an incredible ally of Donald Trump's. He was. But now, in a sense, that's all water under the bridge. When Trump blasted Elon at that Oval Office presser, where he said that Elon was attacking him because Trump took out the tax credits for electrical vehicles and solar panels, which is in many ways now the bread and butter of Tesla. Tesla, their batteries, their solar panels, they get billions of dollars in subsidies, government money. Trump said the reason why Elon opposed the bill was because we were taking out all of these subsidies. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't buy that argument. I don't. Because Elon has lost so much money. I mean, a fortune. Tens and tens and tens of billions of dollars. Look at what happened to the stock of his companies. Look at the personal risk he's taken. Death threat after death threat after death threat for everything he's done for Doge. I honestly believe, no, he thinks it's too much pork. And then he responded in real time to Trump, saying, okay, fine, don't put in, the EV credits. Fine, I don't care, fine, take it away. But he said, get rid of the mountain of pork. So, okay, that was fine. It's still on a policy level. Trump then counters in the Oval Office presser with Elon now, I believe, is suffering from Trump derangement syndrome. Because now he's going to kill the bill. Now he doesn't want to just, fine, we have disagreements about the bill. But now you're talking about literally sinking and defeating my signature legislation, which is the central underpinning of my presidency. Well, now you're stabbing me in the back. And that's when Trump said, I believe Elon now suffers from Trump derangement syndrome. Elon at that point went absolutely ballistic. Hell, not ballistic. He went nuclear. And that's where I believe he crossed the line. He came out and then said that Trump was being ungrateful, ingratitude. According to Elon, Elon says he won the election for Trump. That without Elon, Trump would have lost the election, that the Democrats would still be in control of Congress, and that in particular, Pennsylvania would have gone to Kamala if it wasn't for Elon. So now he's almost acting like, I'm the kingmaker, I made you, I got you elected, which I don't think is true. He was very important, yes. Trump won in 2016 without him. He was always leading in the polls. No one's going to tell me that after that debacle with Joe Biden and Kamala, Mrs. Word Salad and the, drinky, that somehow Trump couldn't beat her on his own. I don't believe that. So you've got Elon now saying, no, I made you. I made you president of the United States. I gave you a Republican House. I gave you majorities in the Senate. Basically saying, I made him. Then he escalated to the point that it's time now to create a new political party. A party that he says, again, I'm just going by what he said on X yesterday, a new political party that will represent the 80% of people in the middle. So now he's saying, let's destroy the MAGA movement. Let's splinter the entire Republican Party, and let's defect and break away from MAGA, with essentially Elon as the kingmaker, as the leader. But it got worse. Elon then said, it's time to impeach President Trump. Now, impeach him over what? Impeach him over what?
Cut, and Congress wanted to cut it. He became a little bit different, and I can understand that, but he knew every aspect of this bill. He knew it better than almost anybody, and he never had a problem until right after he left. And if you saw the statements he made about me, which I'm sure you can get very easily, it's very fresh on tape, he said the most beautiful things about me. And he hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next. But I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
That, of course, was President Trump yesterday at his very high-charged press conference with German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, talking about Elon. And almost on cue, that's when the personal insults from Elon on social media started flying. And I mean flying. 619 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, so Elon, just to clarify, Elon goes to social media on X and says, here's a bomb I'm going to drop, okay? And what he says is, Trump is in the Epstein files. And that's why they have not been released. Have a nice day, DJT. Donald J. Trump. He then follows that up very quickly with, mark this post. In other words, I'll be vindicated in the future. Now, then what he did was, after he released this, he then sent out an old video. This is a 1992 video. I think MSNBC or NBC was actually even filming it at the time. It was one of these parties that Epstein threw. This was in Palm Beach, Florida. Trump was there. Others were there with NFL cheerleaders. And he's saying, you see, like basically it's trying to buttress his accusation. Well, you see, look at him partying there with Epstein. Look at these NFL cheerleaders. Well, number one, this was in 1992. This tape has been around for 25 years, literally 25 years. And clearly every NFL cheerleader, and they're just dancing on the dance floor, it's an adult. I mean, they're all 25, 26, 27, 28, well, whatever. They're way in their 20s. This is not the Epstein files. This is not what happened on Epstein Island. In other words, what he did, and this is why I say, and I'm choosing my words very carefully, to me, this is treason. It's treason to the country. It's treason to Trump. It's treason to MAGA. It's treason to the voters. You don't make and it's a lie. You don't make an explosive allegation like this. Essentially, as I said on X, he's basically saying Donald Trump is a pedophile. In other words, yeah, he was doing underage girls at Epstein's famous island. If he's in the Epstein files, the people in the Epstein files are the ones who were with underage, either girls or boys or even children. So I don't know if he's accusing him of being a child sex molester or sex predator, but he's clearly saying, no, he was with underage girls at Epstein Island. And that's why these files aren't being released. You don't have the evidence to say that. There's no proof. There's no proof whatsoever. It's akin to, and this is what I told my wonderful wife last night, and she's not happy with either of them, if you want to know the truth. She thinks this whole thing is bad for the movement, bad for the country. She wishes they would patch things up for the good of the country. I don't know if they can after this, to be honest. But my point is, you don't accuse the President of the United States, especially someone like Elon Musk, of engaging as a as a sex predator, let's put it this way, as a sex predator on Epstein Island with no evidence or proof whatsoever. That is akin to when women falsely accuse a man of rape. Rape is a very serious thing, one of the most serious things in the world. You don't just cavalierly start accusing someone of having raped you unless the person A, raped you, and B, you have the evidence. So he was completely out of line. To me, it's almost unforgivable if you want to know the truth. Now, furthermore, on top of all of this, you're now calling for Trump to be impeached? You're calling now for a new political party? You're calling now for an all-out political revolt and rebellion against President Trump and his entire administration? As I said on X, but you were fine with them until just last Friday, 1 week ago, when he stood there in the Oval Office with his black eye, if you remember that. Elon had a black eye, and he's standing, and Trump is thanking him for everything he did and praising him. And Elon says, oh, no, you're great. And Trump's like, no, you're great. No, you're great. Well, you're even greater. So it was a love fest, a Swedish love fest just a week ago. And now all of a sudden, President Trump is he's into kids or he's into underage girls and he's being blackmailed. Now, as I said on X, and I want to repeat it, here is the question that Elon Musk cannot answer. He must answer. He won't because he can't. If, according to you, Trump is in the Epstein files, and you knew he was in the Epstein files, then why did you stay silent for the entire time that you were working for his administration at Doge? I'm just going by your logic, Elon, by what you said. If this guy is diddling underage girls, and you say it's there in the files, so you knew about this, so what, you were silent? I'm going by his logic. So what, you were part of the cover-up? You were going to cover all this up for the President of the United States? Just to get Doge cuts? So, if he was this monster that you now claim he is, why did you say nothing? Why did you enable him? Why did you then cover it up? Because you loved him until last Friday. You guys went to ball games together. You guys went to UFC events together. You guys were, constantly talking about how, doing interviews, how this guy is great. No, you're greater than I am. No, you're the greatest person. No, you're the greatest person. The reason he's never seen the files, he's lying. He's lying. He's a liar. He got vicious. He went for the low blow. He went for Trump's throat. He got dirty. He said, yeah, you're going to say I suffer from Trump derangement syndrome. Bang, I'm going to hit you right in the where, right underneath the belt. Okay, let me just finish what I wanted to say just before the break, and then I want to go to the phone lines. Mike and I were just talking, and Mike made a really, really good point. He said it's almost funny. If it wasn't so sad and so bad for the country, it would almost be funny. He said it went within 4 days or 5 days. It went from Trump is this greatest guy ever. This is Elon now talking about Trump in the Oval Office. He's the greatest guy ever. To, yeah, I'm not a big fan of the big beautiful bill. To, Trump's a pedophile. Like what? What? Now, let me just say one last thing, and then I want to go right to the phone lines. And honestly, today's show, I really want to devote it to you, the listeners, the callers, because I want everybody to weigh in, and I want everybody to get their point of view across. Look, obviously, I'm hitting Elon hard because I think he crossed certain lines. He made some vicious personal attacks that I don't think he's going to be able to walk back. And he's going to give the left and the Democrats ammunition now for weeks, if not months to come. The accusation about him being in the Epstein files is, to me, frankly, it's almost unforgivable. When you start saying the president is, a pedophile or, was diddling underage girls, that's defamation, my friend. That's defamation. Now, if this is true, and that's why there's no proof, there's no evidence. Why didn't he say anything? But to me, the checkmate argument is, you mean to tell me that you want us to believe that Trump is in the Epstein files and that the Democrats knew about this, the deep state knew about this for over a decade and never released it to the public? Which this would have destroyed Trump. I don't care. When you're now into underage, that's what he's accusing him of. When if you're into underage girls, you're finished. You're finished. You're done. You're cooked. I don't care who you are. So you're going to tell me that they had this blackmail compromat, as the Russians put it, this devastating information, and the Democrats have been sitting on it for 10 years? And they never released it, but instead had to go on with remember the Russian P dossier, the golden showers at this hotel in Russia, and they had to make up all sorts of stuff. So they went with the bogus Russian P dossier, but they didn't release the Epstein, or at least this aspect of the Epstein files? Come on. I'm sorry. You're on drugs. And your big bombshell is a 1992 video of Donald Trump with Epstein in Palm Beach, Florida, with, 25, 27, 28-year-old NFL cheerleaders dancing at a nightclub? This is your smoking gun? You're on drugs. Something is seriously wrong. Now, let me just ask all of you 2 questions. I want to go right to the phone lines. And again, I want to stress this. If you think Elon is right and you side with Elon, I want to hear from you. If you think Trump made big mistakes in the way he handled Elon, I want to hear from you. You know where I stand. That's my opinion. But I want to hear from everybody in Kuhner country. So I really want the audience to weigh in. Let me just ask all of you 2 questions. 1, do you agree with Elon Musk that he essentially won the election for Donald Trump? That if it wasn't for Elon, the kingmaker, Trump would not have beaten Kamala Harris, and the Democrats would still be controlling the House. And that by denying that Elon was instrumental in winning Michigan, in winning Pennsylvania, in winning Wisconsin, in winning Georgia, that Trump is being an ingrate, as Musk put it yesterday, the ingratitude. Did Elon win the election for Trump? I say absolutely not. He was great. He played an important role, no question. I don't think he's some kingmaker, but that's me. I want to hear from you. And number two, accusing Trump of being in the Epstein files. In fact, saying he's in the Epstein files. Calling for Trump's impeachment. Calling for a new political party. Saying that the big, beautiful bill must be killed. And urging a Republican revolt against Trump and his entire administration. In fact, as Elon said on X, he goes, to every Republican, there are now two sides, and you must choose, Trump or me. And he said, I want everybody to remember, Trump is only going to be around for another, I'm quoting verbatim now, 3.5 years. I will be around for 40 years plus. So choose wisely. Has Elon stabbed Trump in the back? And did he cross the line? I say yes. What say you? 617-266-6868. Okay, Mike, let's release the hounds. Steve in Houston. You're going to kick us off, Steve. Thanks for holding and welcome.
Hey, Jeff. How you doing this morning?
Good, good. How are you?
All right. Well, I think Elon and a bunch of other people helped Trump get elected. But I don't think there was one single person that, can claim that they just did it themselves. But as far as Trump being on the Epstein list, you stole my thunder. And, yeah, we know for a fact that if the Democrats and the media had anything on him, they would have used it a long time ago. And it's so I kind of want your opinion on this, because 70% of me says that it's a wrap. We're never going to see the Epstein client list. But the other 30% says that if you were building cases on people that had the means to flee, would you arrest one by one, or would you build cases on all of them and drop the indictments at the same time?
Well, Steve, to be honest, I think everyone's overthinking the Epstein files. Remember, Trump promised that he would release them. He ordered Pam Bondi and Kash Patel to release them. For whatever reason, they're still sitting on them. We don't need the evidence released. What we just want is the client list. That's all we want. We have extradition treaties with almost every country in the world. The fact that they're just on that list would destroy these individuals. I know people want to, I want this person to go to jail or that person to go to jail. Yes, of course, I always want criminals to be held accountable. But we want the individuals to be named, officially named. Now, we know Bill Clinton is on that list, but we want it official. Bill Gates, we want it official. There are many powerful people on that list. That list needs to come out. And they're sitting on the list. And I don't know why. I have my theory, but I don't know why. Steve, thank you very much for that call. How much time left, Mike? Okay. This is from Larry on Messenger. Jeff, if you had a hint of Trump being a pedophile, would you let Ava or Ashton in the same vicinity of him? Yet Elon let his son be with Trump multiple times. All right, well, instead of the big, beautiful bill, it's now the big, beautiful breakup. The bromance is certainly over between Donald Trump and Elon Musk. They are now at each other's throats. President Trump yesterday, after being viciously attacked by Elon, who essentially accused him of being a pedophile, who should be impeached, Trump now has come out and said, you want us to save money? You want us to cut spending? Well, as Trump put it, maybe we can look into the billions and billions of dollars that your companies get from either direct government contracts or subsidies. So Trump is now essentially threatening to cut off the government spigot and the billions of dollars in contracts and government subsidies that flow to Tesla and other companies. So in other words, he's basically telling Elon, yeah, now you got a big mouth. You want to run your mouth? This is going to cost you a lot of money. I'm going to hit you financially where it really hurts, right in the pocket. So this thing is just getting worse. It's getting uglier and uglier almost by the second. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, let me ask all of you. Who are you most upset with in this feud? This rupturing of this alliance? Are you mad at both of them? Are you more mad at Trump? Are you more mad at Elon? You know where I stand. Many of you are saying, at least on the text line, Jeff, you're being too hard on Elon, that Trump bears some responsibility, especially when he began going after Elon for suffering from Trump derangement syndrome. Because it was really when Trump, at that Oval Office presser yesterday with the German chancellor, it's when he started to say, I think Elon suffers from Trump derangement syndrome. That's when Elon went nuclear. That's when Elon went personal. So you could see it escalating in real time. So I'm just curious. As many of you said, Jeff, it was Trump who initially attacked Elon's motives about the EV subsidies, the EV credits being taken out of the bill. That's why Elon was so upset. And then, of course, after that, he went on about him being, a victim of TDS. And that's when Elon just went nuts. I mean, absolutely nuts. Now, the accusation that Trump is in the Epstein files. Do you think that Elon has any evidence, any serious knowledge, or is he just being utterly vicious and nasty? And in all honesty, Grace and I were talking about this last night. Should Trump sue for defamation? Grace, I'm show prepping, and she comes into the bedroom and she says, I got to ask you, Jeff, because she's following all this and she's watching the TV talkies and cable news. If someone accused you or me of being, a pedophile or, having diddled underage girls or underage boys, what would your reaction be? And honestly, my reaction would be, see you in court. You're a liar. You just defamed me. See you in court. And by the way, Elon, your fortune is now mine. Am I wrong? I want to hear from you. Should Trump sue for defamation? And now ultimately with this explosive, and by the way, the left is running wild with this. They are suddenly now Elon is their hero again. They went from burning Teslas and Tesla dealerships and having him be public enemy number one to now they're all praising Elon. They love Elon. And that's led to some people openly saying, is this all calculated on Elon's part? Did he want this open fight and feud with Trump so the liberals could love him again and they'd start buying Teslas and electric vehicles? So should Pam Bondi and Kash Patel categorically come out and say that Trump is not in the Epstein files to put this accusation to rest? So there's a lot to chew on. 617-266-6868. But fundamentally, Trump versus Elon. Are you with Trump or are you with Elon? Linda in Medford. Thanks for holding, Linda, and welcome.
A few years ago, I did come across an item that said that Trump had gone to Epstein Island with his own plane and with his entourage. After a short time, and of course we know that Trump doesn't drink, he said to one of his entourage people, these girls are getting younger and younger. Let's get out of here. And they packed up and left.
Interesting.
But, yeah, that was the only thing that I've ever read about Trump in association with him. And the thing is, because they traveled in similar circles in New York, it wouldn't be surprising if he was, told to come on down.
Now, Linda, what do you make of the fact that Musk has now come out and said he's in the Epstein files, and this is why they're not releasing them? He said the reason why they're not releasing them is because they've got very damaging, incriminating, information or evidence on Trump. And that's why the files, he says, haven't been released and will never be released. In other words, Trump is dirty. That's what Elon is now saying. Trump is dirty. Trump is a sexual predator, and they have him on tape or with eyewitnesses or photographs or whatever. And he was there. He's in the files. That's why they're sitting on him. That's why they will never come out. Was that, what do you make of it? And, is that crossing the line? I think it is, but what say you?
The line. And why did Trump campaign on releasing the Epstein files? It just doesn't add up. But I don't understand why Musk is doing this. He was always known, but not to the world the way he is now. And I can't get over that he's turning his back like this.
Well, he's burning every bridge now with Trump and with the administration. And he's basically now become a never-Trumper. And I'll tell you, Linda, I will tell you exactly what I said on X last night. I said he's now joining the ranks of Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger and Chris Christie and Mitt Romney and Hillary Clinton and AOC and Robert De Niro and Rosie O'Donnell. He's now becoming this vicious never-Trumper. And it's a sad, miserable, pathetic existence. And I think Elon has made the biggest mistake of his life. Look, to be honest, Linda, look, if I'm not here to speak the truth, there's no point in me being behind this microphone. There have been numerous media reports that for the last 6 to 9 months, especially during the campaign, because there was so much pressure on Elon. He's running all of these companies. He's got young children, very young children, that he developed an addiction to ketamine, which is sort of like it's used for pain management if you have an injury. Sometimes it's used for depression. So that he was on ketamine, and that he began to abuse ketamine. Now, in other words, that he was on drugs. And he didn't really address those stories. He never said no. He always danced around these stories. I'm starting to think, I'm just being honest. I look at his reaction and I ask is he on drugs? Because this is not rational. He escalated it from a policy dispute with the President of the United States, who elevated a non-cabinet member like him in a way I've never seen in modern American history. I've never seen anything. He gave Elon the key to the White House. And he said, I want to have you back again. This was just last week. Elon sat at every cabinet meeting. He elevated Elon above members of his own cabinet. If you remember, it got so bad that Elon was sticking his nose in he was sticking his nose in the State Department. He was sticking his nose in the Pentagon. He was sticking his nose in the Treasury Department, to the point that, very powerful, the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of the Treasury were like, this guy doesn't know his limit. He acts like he's my boss. My boss is Trump, not Elon. My point is, he gave him so much prestige and power. I don't know if it went to his head, but no one treated him better than Trump. At times, and I got to say this, Grace said this to me last night. This is her, not me, and she's right. I didn't like one thing about Trump's relationship with Elon. I never liked it. When he would introduce Elon, Trump would be sitting at his desk at the Oval Office. Elon would always stand. And then Elon would talk to the room. And Trump would say, I know Elon wants to say something, and here's the floor. And the fact that the president is sitting, and this man, and it's not just him, he does it to others as well, but especially Elon, and he's standing. It's almost like he's above the president. To me, the president should never be sitting as someone else is standing and talking. Yes, everybody can be seated. You talk to the president when he's sitting. The president stands, people can stand. Or the president can stand and talk, and everyone else is sitting. That's any president. Why? Because he's the president of the United States. He was elected by the American people. But no, he gave such deference and such respect to Elon that I remember I didn't like it. Every time I saw it, I'm like, he's not that important. Elon's almost acting like he's a co-president. He's not. No one voted for him. What he did was very important, no question. But they didn't vote for him. They voted for Trump. Elon was never on the ballot. So this is not a co-presidency. But at times it's almost like, well, Elon, I know you want to say something. And he would say, Elon would stand. He goes in and says, please stand, while the president is sitting. I never liked it. I don't like it. But my point is, no one gave any non-cabinet member such unprecedented access, prestige, influence. You couldn't have treated somebody better. Now, okay, fine. You have a problem with the bill. I think it's too much pork and too much spending as well. I do. You can say it to the president privately. Okay, you feel that strongly about it, you can say it publicly. But we went from that to this guy's diddling kids. And I got to ask myself, is this guy under the influence of drugs? And I'll tell you why. Because now, in the middle of the night, this is the latest, in the middle of the night, okay, there were people on social media, Bill Ackman in particular, a wealthy billionaire, former Democrat who voted for Trump, and he tweets Elon saying, I like you, I like Trump. For the good of the country, I think the two of you need to make peace. And you know what Elon's response is? Yeah, I think that's a good idea. What? Now after everything you've just said, that Trump should be impeached, that we need a new political party, you want to destroy the bill? He's part of the Epstein files? Mark it. You're going to see I'm going to be vindicated in the future. So you burn the guy to the ground, and then all of a sudden, let's make peace. Like, were you coming off the drugs? I'm sorry, I have to ask. Was this one a binge? And then you're like, what the hell was I doing when I was high? Or there's, the elevator doesn't go to the top. I don't know what it is. But, Linda, I'm telling you, this is irrational. It doesn't make any sense. Look, as Mike said it, that's why he said, look, either you laugh or you cry. He's laughing. He goes, we went from we're best friends, we love each other. This is Elon Musk. To I have problems with the bill, to you're a pedophile. In about 4 days. Linda, thank you very much for that call. I don't agree, disagree. Paul in Rhode Island. Thanks for holding, Paul, and welcome.
Yes, Jeff. How are you?
Very good. How are you, Paul?
Good. Listen, I've been watching this, and it looks like there's a big feud going on between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. Yes? Donald Trump was respectful, but he also criticized him. But Elon Musk went off the rails as soon as he left office. Well, it was just before he left office. He didn't want to leave. Trump asked him to leave. He didn't want to, but, they were still friends. And all of a sudden, they're not friends anymore? They're enemies. What's up with that?
Well, Paul, I'm just curious. I mean, Trump's theory, and he's been very open about it, what he's saying in public is what he's telling everybody in private, which is that Elon was angry at him for taking out those billions, and it is billions of dollars in subsidies and credits that Tesla was getting for their electrical vehicle cars, their EV batteries, their solar panels. They make a lot of solar panels as well, and they sell them to homes all across the country. So the sort of green energy subsidies or credits, as they're called, were taken out in the bill. And because, and Trump said this was under Biden, and we're going to get rid of it. We just can't keep it. It's a waste of money. So he's saying that Elon is angry because this bill is costing him personally billions of dollars. And then he said something else, which is he says, I don't know what it is. People work in our administration. There's nothing like being in the Oval Office. And he said this right beside the German chancellor. And the German chancellor was nodding like, yeah, it's true. He said, World War I is decided here. World War II was decided here. The Cold War was decided here. Like, in other words, this is where all the action is. This is where the center of power all over the world is. That's just a fact. And he said, so Trump says when he left, when people leave, some either embrace it or some begin to miss the glamour, the attention that they had, the power that they used to have. And his theory is Elon now realizes he's just the head of a big company. He's no longer at the center of all the action. And that's when Trump said, that's when people begin to fall into Trump derangement syndrome. In fact, Paul, I'll tell you what, let me just play the cut. This is Trump. And so here is Trump, because the media is saying, well, now that you and Trump are feuding like this, are you saying that Doge and all the cuts that he recommended, is that over with now? I mean, is it all going to be null and void because you're dealing with a crazy person? Trump says, no, the Doge cuts were good, but something happened to Elon. Roll cut 4, Mike.
And this is the guy you put in charge of cutting spending. Should people not take him seriously about spending now? Are you saying this is all sour grapes?
No, he worked hard, and he did a good job. And I'll be honest, I think he misses the place. I think he got out there, and all of a sudden he wasn't in this beautiful Oval Office, and he's got nice offices too. But there's something about this one. I was telling the Chancellor, this is where it is. People come in here, even from Germany. They come in and they walk into the Oval Office, and it's just a special place. It's, World War I, it started and it ended here, and World War II, and so many other things. Everything big comes right from this beautiful space. It's now much more beautiful than it was 6 months ago.
So, and then he continues, and this is where he says he suffers from Trump derangement syndrome. Roll cut 4A, Mike.
I think President Trump is a good man. The president's been so unfairly attacked in the media.
No, that's
really
4B,
outrageous.
Mike, 4A. I want 4A. Okay, this is where he says, look, he's not the first. And that's when he says, okay, here it is. Go ahead, Mike.
And I'll tell you, he's not the first. People leave my administration and they love us. And then at some point they miss it so badly. And some of them embrace it and some of them actually become hostile. I don't know what it is. It's sort of Trump derangement syndrome, I guess they call it. But we have it with others too. They leave and they wake up in the morning and the glamour's gone. The whole world is different and they become hostile. I don't know what it is. Someday you'll write a book about it and you'll let us know.
So, Paul, his theory is he's lost billions in the EV credits and the solar panel credits. So financially it was affecting him personally. But almost on a deeper level, he's saying, no, it's psychological. He misses being in the thick of the action. And now it's TDS. It's Trump derangement syndrome. What say you, Paul?
Well, the thing is, I think they're very angry. I mean, Musk and Trump need to pass things up, and the big beautiful bill needs to be passed. What they can do is make adjustments to it and make it more effective for the taxpayer. Because if we don't do that, that's the end of his presidency. And I think indirectly that Elon Musk is responsible for this, although he wasn't the one that won the election for Trump in the first term. He could do without him. He did help, but now he turned against him. He wanted all the power. That's what I want. And that's what I want to stress. He wanted all the power. And Trump said, it's time for you to leave. And he didn't like that.
Well, it's clear, I think, Paul, you're onto something, that the power got to Elon's head. And you can, look, when he said the president's being an ingrate, or as he put it, such ingratitude, if you want exactly how he put it, Elon wrote on X, no, it's such ingratitude. I won him the election. He goes, if it wasn't for me, he would have lost the election. And the Democrats would have won the House, and the Republicans would only have a 51-49 majority in the Senate. So basically what he's saying is, I made Trump. I put him in the Oval Office. I gave him a majority in both the House and the Senate. And now this guy's attacking me? How dare he? So Elon's basically saying, I'm the kingmaker. I made Trump. So he's almost implying like he's a co-president with Trump. And I'm like, whoa, slow down. Whoa, yes, you were pivotal. Yes, you had a major role. There's no question. But take it easy. There's no co-presidency here. You didn't install him in the Oval Office. Like, whoa, your ego's getting a little bit too big here. Know your place. And that's the problem. Elon doesn't know his place. Paul, thank you very much for that call. 617-266-6868. Again, you may disagree with me. Agree, disagree. Who do you think is most to blame for this feud now between Trump and Elon? And who do you ultimately side with? Okay, quick recap, and then we're going to go we're going to go to a quick break, come back and take your calls. Elon Musk now says it's time to start a new political party. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer, 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, there are some media outlets, that are reporting that it appears that aides close to Trump and to Elon are hoping for some kind of a possible détente. They are saying there could be a truce phone call between the two men later today. We shall see. But anyway, just so that you know, there is work being done behind the scenes to try to have both men bury the hatchet. Hopefully they will. But with this volatile relationship, who knows what the hell's going to happen. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, this is from Sharon, and she's making a point that many of you in Kuhner country are making, and that's why I want to give it as much exposure as I can, because I want to represent all possible sides, voices, and angles in this massive feud between Trump and Elon, which is clearly the biggest story in the world. There's no question. Good morning, Jeff. Well, good morning to you, Sharon. I have a slightly different take on Elon's behavior. I'm not excusing Elon crossing the line, but I think what we witnessed yesterday is emotional dysregulation on full display. People with Asperger's, and Elon has Asperger's, typically do not apply quote-unquote filters or know when to stop when they respond in anger. I also think Elon experienced friendship, positive reinforcement with Trump in a personal level, and I agree with Trump and you that he misses it. and he doesn't know how to process that loss. So now this is interesting. So what Sharon is saying is, look, it's partly the Asperger's. There's no filter, and many of you are saying that. And when they get angry, they get worse and worse and worse, and they just start to lash out. In other words, it's irrational. At a certain point, it becomes irrational. But the other point is, no, look, he's generally an isolated guy. By his own admission, he's socially very awkward. Has been his entire life. In some sense, he's almost half mature. You know, Trump says he's half genius, half boy. Trump says that about him all the time. He goes, there's no question the guy's IQ is off the charts. There's no question he's a brilliant entrepreneur, inventor, businessman. But he says, I don't get a lot of his humor. Trump has often said that. It's like he's a bit boyish, like a bit immature in some levels, in some ways. So, and what Sharon is saying is, Elon really connected with Trump, really forged a personal bond. So it's not even so much the attention, the glamour, the spotlight, being at the center of it all, although that may be part of it. It's also, I had a lot of fun with Trump. We really bonded. We really connected. Now that's gone. And with Asperger's, it almost feels like a personal betrayal and a deep personal loss. There's something about Elon's response. It's off kilter. You're just like, whoa. It's just, you're going off, you're going off the rails. Like, whoa, what? Impeach? What? A new political party? What? He's in the Epstein files? What? It's all going to come out? The truth is going to come out? Mark this post. He's in the Epstein files, and that's why they don't want to release it. So he's gone from 0 to 100 miles per hour in 18 hours, in 2 days. So again, I don't know if it's the drugs. I don't know if it's the Asperger's. I don't know what it is. But yeah, I think they should have a phone call. I don't know. At this point, would you make up with him? I mean, maybe superficially, but I don't know how you walk any of this back. 617-266-6868. Harry in Maine. Thanks for holding, Harry, and welcome.
Jeff, good morning.
Hi.
I've got so much to unload here. I'll try to make it as consolidated and concise as I can. One thing I want to get off my mind quickly is, I'll get on the record quickly, is that I don't agree that Trump should have used the term Trump derangement syndrome in this instance. I think it triggered the whole thing. There were other ways he could have handled it, and the example could be there are several Republicans who Trump gets along with. Rick Scott, to a degree Rand Paul, and there's others that don't support this bill the way it is currently structured, Ron Johnson included. But there's no way that he's going, off the rails with these folks. He's handling it professionally, and he's sticking to his point. Second thing I want to say is, you mentioned earlier in the show how much Elon has contributed. No doubt. You did an unbelievable job explaining it, and we shouldn't forget that. We shouldn't disregard it. But Trump has also given up a lot. The guy's been attempted to be assassinated twice. He's shot in the head. His brand took a major beating from 2015 right up until now. And he suffered financially as well as personally. So as far as, who sacrificed what, Trump's right up there. He hasn't taken a paycheck from the government as well. You asked earlier, too, Jeff, who do I support? This is simple. Whose name was on the ballot? I didn't vote for Elon Musk. I voted for President Donald J. Trump. This is his agenda. This is his legacy that's at stake. We, the people, voted for his agenda. He controls his own legacy now. He's got to make the decisions he feels that need to be made to pull us out of the rut that we're in, domestically and internationally. So I'm going to let the guy do what he needs to do. I'm going to let the man do what he thinks is right. And then history will tell us whether he was right or wrong. But I'm not going to pull the rug from under him. I support him 110%. And I think the American people should rally behind that. one other final point. Last night, Newt Gingrich made a great point about this whole situation. His analogy was that Elon Musk, he said it very nicely. He just said it's a temper tantrum, and he needs to basically grow up and get himself back in the saddle and get his mind and his head in the right spot and, you know, move on. But all this stuff about the Epstein file and so forth, it's all farcical. And at the end of the day, Jeff, this woman, Sharon, I think she stated it very, very nicely in the text that you just read. This could be something that is just a little bit beyond his, Musk's control. I'm not going to, speculate whether he's on drugs or whatever, but certainly people with the condition, and I'm not an expert on Asperger, but certainly with that type of condition,
No, I hear you. Trump versus Elon, the bromance. Oh, boy, it's over. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, let me ask all of you. Should Elon issue a public apology to Trump? I mean, especially after the whole Epstein files, he's in them, and that's why they don't want to release him. And trust me, mark it, you'll see this post is true. Should Musk be forced to issue a public apology after calling for the impeachment of the president, saying that the president would never have been elected without Elon, and that it's time to form a completely new political party with essentially Elon as the titular head, and to lead a revolt against the Trump administration? Now, if he doesn't issue an apology, should Trump ask for the keys to the White House to be returned? If you remember, they did when he gave him this beautiful send-off just last week. Here are the keys, and you're always welcome here, Elon. So, what do you think, Trump? Should Trump? I mean, personally, if I was Trump, I want the keys back. That's what I would be talking on the. If they're going to have their phone call today, I'd be like, Elon, send me the keys back, please, or I'm going to change the locks. Yeah, change the locks. So Elon, give me the keys back, or I'm changing the locks. But that's me. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, very quickly. Listen now to Trump attacking Elon yesterday. It was still somewhat civil. It was more the policy of the bill, the motivations behind Elon's opposition to the bill, i.e. that Trump took out, or the bill takes out billions of dollars in credits and in subsidies for electrical vehicles, EV batteries, and solar panels. Roll cut 1A, Mike.
And, Elon's upset because we took the EV mandate, and, which was a lot of money for electric vehicles. And, they're having a hard time, the electric vehicles. And they want us to pay billions of dollars in subsidy. And, Elon knew this from the beginning. He knew it for a long time ago. That's been in there. That's been, I would say, JD, that hasn't changed. That's been right from the beginning, Mr. Secretary. That hasn't changed at all, right from the beginning. But I know that it disturbed him. He wanted, and rightfully, he.
So basically, he's saying that's why he's so upset. So, in other words, this is personal for Elon. It's financial. It's monetary. Now, to me, this is what Elon now needs to answer. You're now claiming that he's in the Epstein files, and that's why they're not being released. And that eventually they will come out, and that Trump essentially was diddling underage girls. That's his argument. Well, you knew this before. So why, as an example, when he was at Doge, working for Trump, riding high, just a few months ago, here's what he said about the president then. This is on Fox. Roll cut 4B, Mike.
I think President Trump is a good man. The president has been so unfairly attacked in the media. It's truly outrageous. And at this point, spent a lot of time with the president, and not once have I seen him do something that was mean or cruel or wrong.
Hello? Really? Hello? Now you want him impeached? Now the guy's a pedophile? I know. Look, either you're lying or you're just looking now to go for his throat. And you're just going to, you're defaming the guy. It's just slanderous libel after slanderous libel. But I think there's no question he has stabbed Trump in the back. Now, to be fair, now both men are, starting to spit on each other. But it wasn't always like this. Now, this is just a recent montage. I'm not talking about, during the election or 6 months ago or, this is just 7 days ago, last week. Listen now, this is Trump and Elon. Roll cut 4C, Mike.
Honored to be joined tonight by one of the people who is going to help us build this incredible future. And he is a truly incredible guy. His name is Elon Musk.
President Trump must win to preserve the Constitution. He must win to preserve democracy in America.
We have a new star. A star is born, Elon. I love Tesla. Elon is doing a great job. He's finding tremendous fraud and corruption and waste.
I look forward to continuing to be a friend and advisor to the president.
Now, it was a bit of a different cut. I wanted to play the montage of their meeting last Friday, where they were just slapping each other on the back, but still, fine. So this is them over the last couple of months, just during the election, after the election. You could see the bromance. It just kept going and going and going and going. And then it went from, in 3 days, to I don't like the bill, to kill the bill, to impeach Trump, to now the guy's a pedophile. 617-266-6868. Mark in Medford. Thanks for holding, Mark, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. First of all, I just want to make it clear. I think if you or I were on the ticket, we would have beat Kamala and Tampon Tim. Just saying. Because I still don't believe Kamala got the votes that she really got. So, but as you would say, let that go. Okay. Jeff, I'm a little disappointed with Elon. I wrote this down in a message just in case I didn't get on the air with you. And first of all, Elon knew that Trump was going to reverse the EV mandates. He campaigned on it. So I don't know where he's coming from with this nonsense. Okay. And as far as Trump not showing gratitude, Jeff, Trump has shown tremendous gratitude to Elon and his family. I mean, he included him in many situations, in many meetings where Trump really didn't have to if he didn't want to. Okay? And this is how he acts. Yeah, I think there's a little something off with Elon. Maybe he needs to up his dose on his medication. I don't know. And thirdly, you accuse him of being on the island. Well, Jeff, in all honesty, if he thought for 1 second that Trump was on that island, he wouldn't have lifted a finger to help him with his campaign, with Doge, or anything else. He's lying, and yes, he does owe the President of the United States an apology.
You're dead on, Mark. That's why I said I think Elon's lying. He just made that up just to hurt Trump. It got personal. It got vicious. And he just started to lash out. And what's the way I can hurt him the most? Accuse him of being on the island. And look, I just want to read the tweet that he sent out. And this is exactly what he said on X. Really, when I read it, I couldn't believe it. So here's what he wrote. This is Elon Musk. Time to drop the really big bomb. At real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. And then he followed that up with, mark this down. This will be proven true in the future. Mark, I'm with you. He owes the president an apology. And of course, the Dems and the media are salivating. Now they're wrapping Epstein around Trump's neck. Let me throw another super small log on the fire, as I like to say. Now that we've seen this ugly public feud between Elon and Trump, especially a lot of the stuff that Elon, the personal stuff, the defamation, the slander that Elon has now leveled against Trump. Have you lost some respect for Elon? Have you lost some respect for Trump? I'm just curious. Has either man been reduced in your eyes? Or do you just see this, as some of you do, these are two alpha males, they're two big dogs, as they say, these are two business titans, one is a political force of nature, Elon is the wealthiest man in the world, this is what you get, these are men with big egos, big personalities, they're gonna clash, they're gonna fight, then they make up, then they fight, and then they make up. That, in other words, ultimately this is much ado about nothing. Or do you think this has hurt their public image and their credibility, at least the way you see them? I'm just curious. 617-266-6868. Ellie in Worcester. Thanks for holding, Ellie, and welcome.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Ellie?
Pretty good. I have a take on this. I don't know if you'll agree or not, but these are the reactions of two men who love each other and have affection for each other. He gave him the key to the White House. I mean, it seems like they had built up this father-son relationship, and the hurt is always more intense when you get hurt feelings. If you've ever dealt with family members, the viciousness can get pretty bad because there's hurt involved. Hurt feelings because you love someone and have affection for them. I think that they had a father-dad relationship. I mean, he was there in the office just like little John was with President Kennedy, and he had affection for his, Elon's son. You can't be an employer, and father-son image and not have some clashes. I think the two got mixed up, and I think that they should just, kiss and make up because it's obvious to me that they love each other and they have great affection for each other. But just like family members, the same thing. They can get pretty vicious with each other. I've seen it happen a million times because
Ellie,
love is involved.
Oh, no, I agree with you. You're completely right. Absolutely, you're completely right. My question is this. Look, I get it. Family fights, it can get really ugly, very, nasty, vicious. But calling a guy a pedophile? What I'm saying is there's certain lines, to me, you just don't cross. Now, if you have evidence, and that's the other thing, Grace made this point to me as well. She said, look, if he really has evidence, then be a man and show it. If you're saying that Trump is in the Epstein files, and you know this for sure, and you're going to be vindicated on this, mark this post, I'll be proven true in the future. Well, then, if you got it, show it. But don't accuse and tease and intimate. Not on something like this. So what I'm saying is this, Ellie. I get it. I hate you, or whatever. You're a jerk or whatever. If you say things in anger with family you don't really mean, or you just want to hurt them because your feelings are hurt. But look, let's just play this out just for the sake of argument, Ellie. They call and they make up. What do they say? No, really, okay, so you're going to be in front of the media. The media is going to ask the obvious question. Do you still think Trump should be impeached? No? Okay. Do you still, what about your call for a political party, a new political party that represents 80% of Americans in the middle? In other words, people should break away from Trump's Republican Party. You still, yes, no? Okay, so he's not in the Epstein files? He's not a pedophile? How does Elon, what's he going to say? I said that in anger? Like, just think about it. So what? When are you in anger? When are you not in anger? When can we take you seriously? So when are you lying? When are you not lying? I don't know. It's one thing also, Ellie, when you say something in like most family fights, it's in private, it's behind closed doors. Okay. But this is an open public feud. They didn't, it wasn't on the phone, them yelling and screaming at each other. And how do I say this? Reporters said, sources are saying they had an argument. And here's what was allegedly said. No, it's on X. I mean, there it is. And then Elon puts a video after he makes this outrageous, explosive accusation. To me, outside of he raped a woman, I don't know what's worse. He's diddling a minor, an underage girl. So and then he puts out a video and people are looking at him like, are you on drugs? It's a 1992 party. It's a public party. Cameras are everywhere. It's no secret. And it's Epstein with these NFL cheerleaders, and Trump is there, in a suit, and he's, he's dancing and he's snapping his fingers and boogieing, but these are all grown-up women. I mean, they're like I said, they're in their 20s. Easy. So these are all adults. So that's not the island. That's not underage girls. That's not. So what I'm saying is this, Ellie. When you make this kind of a slanderous, defamatory accusation, how do you walk it back? Unless, is Elon going to grovel? Is Elon going to say, hey, I was on I was off my meds? Is Elon going to say I was on too much ketamine? Like, for Elon to have any credibility left, I don't see how the two patch things up. I don't know. Am I wrong? Go ahead, Ellie.
It's a pickle, that is for sure. What they should do is just privately call each other, talk it out, and decide what you're going to say to the media. Work it out. I know saying those things are really, really bad. That's a really low blow. And it's like everybody on the planet, I think, have met up with, what's his name, Epstein, because everybody rubbed elbows with him. Some people are innocent and some people are not. But, I know that was a low blow. But what they should do is just call each other privately, work it out, and, try to, because I believe that these two have affection for each other. And it's just the emotions behind the hurt. And they're just lashing out, bam, bam, bam. It's like, knock it off. It kind of screwed things up because it turned into like a father-son relationship when it should have been employee-employer.
You're right. You nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. It got too personal. It got too close. And look, this is an open secret. Elon has said this, so I'm not saying anything out of school. Elon has had a horrible relationship with his father. In fact, let me just say this. Just look up Elon's dad. You want to talk about the father from hell. You want to talk about, really, seriously, an SOB. Okay? With a capital S, capital O, capital B. That's Elon's dad. And you can see that. So basically, he's got a father, but he doesn't have a father, if you know what I mean. So you can see with Elon, if you can just tell, Trump almost became like a father, like the father I never really had. So there was almost like, as you put it, a father-son relationship. And in a sense, it's beautiful, it's nice, it's great. It's a wonderful thing. But when you start mixing it with the job, with Doge, with the administration, with politics, look, it's a mess. That's the problem. It's a mess. And you're right. They have to talk to each other. I think they have to make up. And I like the way their formula. Just make up like in a family. And then we'll decide, we'll worry about what we tell the public. We'll come up with some way and, we'll just try to patch this up and save face and let's just move forward. So I hope that's what happens. Ellie, thank you very much for that call. Let me ask all of you this. And again, look, maybe I'm taking things too seriously. Again, maybe that's me, my upbringing. I don't know. I look at both men, and honestly, I'm a little disappointed in both. Okay, now you know where I stand. I think Elon crossed the line. I believe fundamentally Elon is in the wrong. Not on the substance. I think the pork and the spending was a valid, genuine criticism, and you can agree to disagree, and I think it's good to have a good, robust debate. I don't think that's bad. It's the personal attacks that I thought were, whoa, that's really below the belt, okay? But I gotta say this. This is much bigger than these two men. I'm not exaggerating. The fate of the country's hanging in the balance. Like, guys, I'm sorry, but this is not about you or your relationship or your ego or who betrayed who. We've got Americans who are hurting. We need this economy to take off. We've got Americans who are, because of Biden in particular, are living hand to mouth, check to check. Like, they need this bill to be passed. We're flooded and invaded by illegals. ICE cannot even do 3,000 deportations a day because they don't have the manpower and the resources. This bill will give them the manpower they need. We're talking about saving American lives and saving our country. We're in a very dangerous world now. We need this global dome, this missile defense shield. What I'm saying is there are so many important things in this bill that we need to save our country. And Trump is facing a rebellion from the federal judiciary, these rogue judges. You got the Democrats now who, if they win the midterms, are going to impeach him. And God forbid, maybe even take back power and finish the country off. Like, I'm looking at both of them and I'm like, guys, who's right? Who's wrong? Who stabbed who? Who didn't stab who? Who betrayed who? Who didn't betray? Come on, what is wrong with you? We've got a country to save, for God's sake. And look, make no mistake about it. This is MAGA's last chance. This is now, whether we like it or not, because of the alliance that these two men formed, for better or for worse. We have a MAGA president, we have a MAGA House, and a MAGA Senate. I notice a lot of rhinos. But the fact of the matter is, the country now says MAGA is running the country. Okay, you ask most ordinary people, you go, like, who's in power? And they say, well, no, it's Trump. It's America first. It's MAGA. Hey, Trump endorsed Speaker Mike Johnson. He endorsed John Thune. John Thune came out and said, we're going to deliver on this big, beautiful bill. We're delivering for Trump. Johnson, we're going to deliver for Trump. His campaign promises, we're going to put him in the bill. So what I'm saying is, whatever criticisms, and I have many criticisms of the bill, the fact of the matter is, this bill has got to pass. Now, think of the perception if this completely unravels. Because remember, what Elon is saying, it's not just a cheap shot and another cheap shot. What he's saying is, it's either me or Trump, as he put it on X. Not only does Trump have to be impeached, he said we need a whole new political party with me as its leader. It's a complete defection and revolt against MAGA. And he's saying, remember, if you want, I'll read you the tweet directly. Trump's only going to be around for 3.5 years. He put it 3.5 years. I'm going to be around for 40 plus years. So it's either him or me. Choose wisely. Now, let me tell you what the country sees. You guys are shooting at each other. You guys are bitterly divided. You guys can't even pass a bill. It looks dysfunctional. It looks fractured. It looks, frankly, at times almost comedic, like a clown show. And if we blow this, the country is not going to trust MAGA ever again. So I'm looking at this, I'm like, the stakes could not be higher. Shut up and get the damn bill passed. I'd like it with a lot more spending cuts. If you can't do the spending cuts, then do them later. But pass the damn bill. Instead, Elon has said, kill the bill and essentially kill Trump's presidency. Again, I don't know how you bridge that. I mean, superficially, yes. Okay, Elon, I accept your apology, whatever. Okay, in other words, look, I'm going to stop bashing you. Please don't take away my government contracts and my government subsidies. Okay, so I'm not going to hurt you financially. I'm going to stop burning you to the ground verbally, rhetorically, and let's just pretend none of this happened. Okay, so superficially, you can patch it up. I don't know how in reality you can ever really come back. But the bigger issue is, what's going to happen to the bill now? Think about it. Can they salvage the bill? Or has too much damage now been done? And make no mistake about it, if this bill goes down, Trump's presidency is in free fall. The Dems and the media will be dancing on Trump's political grave. 617-266-6868. He will not have been able to deliver his seminal campaign promises. That's what's at stake. Agree, disagree, 617-266-6868, 8 o'clock-ish, Friday, you know what that means. Caller of the week, Kuhner's Call Log.
It's time for Kuhner's Call Log, where we showcase our favorite caller from the week.
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Thanks for holding, George.
I read a book in high school. They had a character, Moshe, the village idiot. I mean, that's what we're dealing with, is a dual reality. And the premise of this character was he would come back to the village and say, hey, this is what's going on. They're rallying up Jewish people and they're cattling them to camps. And everybody would be like, oh, you're just a village idiot. What do you know? And da-da-da-da-da. And to me, that's what's been going on. China's declared unrestricted war with us. The bottom line comes down to this, and that's why I brought that Moshe character up. How do you teach someone hardship? We've been so indifferent as a country for so long, and the local person is thinking about the next tattoo and, just stupidity. They don't understand. They're not worried about the next food or taking care of their family or taking and raising their own kids. I don't know how you change that in our culture. Everybody's looking at their phone. They're worried about mundane things that really don't matter to anything in terms of survival. And I don't know how you correct it, but they've declared war on us, and like it or not, what we decide to do, we decide to do.
And next week, it could be you on Kuhner's Call Log.
Please, don't be a stranger. Call again. Best audience in the business. Steve in Quincy. Thanks for holding, Steve, and welcome.
Yeah, good morning, Jeff.
Hi, Steve.
When it comes to Musk, okay, he's brilliant in business, but socially he's like a little kid. And I realized this when Trump was having all these rallies. What did Musk do when he comes on the stage? He's jumping around like a little kid, hands up. You would never think he was the richest man in the world. Look at me, I'm great, and all this stuff. He needs the attention. He never got this before, and now everything is, he wants to go his way. He rebels like a little kid, and this is what happens. If he apologizes and tells Trump, I never got this much attention before, and I hope you can forgive me, and let's pass that bill and make America great again. But that was the key. I thought it was awful weird jumping on the stage like a little kid, which tells you socially he's not there.
Oh, that's a great point. And, I mean, he'd have these crazy, funky sunglasses. You're right. Do you remember the one where he took out a chainsaw? He put on these sunglasses. They're indoors. And I know he was trying to imitate Milei, the leader of Argentina, but he's got these goofy sunglasses. He has this chainsaw and like this guy. You're like socially, like exactly like, dude, you're the richest man in the world. Like, what are you, my Ashton? Like, my son would do something like this and think it's cool. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, yeah, I think, Steve, if he calls and says, hey, look, I'm sorry, it all got to my head. I lose my mind sometimes, and, you're like a second father to me, and I just feel really hurt, and, I'm sorry, and, look, I got Asperger's, I don't know what else to tell you, I hope Trump is the bigger man, and says, okay, Elon, for the good of the country, for the good of MAGA, to make America great again, let's just forget this never happened. And honestly, Steve, Mike is saying, Jeff, things are so crazy right now. He goes, I wouldn't be shocked if by Monday that not only have they patched everything up, but you may see Elon back in the cabinet, or at the cabinet meetings. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, let me ask all of you. It is the Kuhner Country poll question of the day, sponsored by Mario's. Mario's quality roofing, siding, and windows. And this one is a doozy. Will Trump and Elon make up? Do you think they're going to patch things up, bury the hatchet, and, I don't know, I don't say be friends again, but at least, publicly stop feuding? Will Trump and Elon make up? A, yes. B, no. You can vote on our webpage, wrko.com/Kuhner, wrko.com/Kuhner, KUHN as in National ER, or if you prefer, you can vote via X. And again, I was ultra active yesterday. My handle there, at the Kuhner Report, all one word, KUHN as in National ER. Betty in Quincy. Thanks for holding, Betty, and welcome.
Jeff, how's it going?
Good. How are you, Betty?
Good. I think this is all about nothing. I think that they're going to make up for sure. These two, they're better together than apart. I think everybody needs to calm down. We'll have a common sense cookie break. And I'm with Ellie. I think his feelings were just hurt. I think Elon's feelings were hurt. He didn't know how to handle it. And I'm not sure with Asperger's how that goes, but I believe that to be true. I think this is the best bromance in history, Jeff. I mean, political history. I mean, it was so electrifying. I don't want to throw that away. I mean, he was a huge help, Elon, with Trump. And I think Trump has grown so much. I think he's going to handle this with grace. And I think he knows. He realizes how important it is to have somebody like Elon, in the mix and in the family, so to speak. I mean, I was at the convention, and I was at the Butler, Pennsylvania for the second rally. When I ever saw Elon jump up on the stage and Trump saying, wow, look at him. He's so excited. He's like doing jumping jacks and then he's like looking at him. He says, look at him. I think he works out. I mean, it was just so awesome to see the way he embraced Elon. We've never seen somebody like reach over the aisle and then, RFK. I mean, I think they're going to. I think they're going to be two of the best, two of the greatest to go down in history. They need to patch this up for themselves and for the country. I mean, this will be such a valuable lesson, Jeff, for the country. You know what? we agree to disagree. They know they agree on like 80% or whatever. I think this was just feelings hurt. I think he needs to have the keys. I think he needs to be in a little timeout maybe, but I think this can all be solved over a little cookie break. What do you think?
Oh, I hope so. Betty, I really, really, really hope so. But I agree with you. They do need each other. I think this alliance was tremendous. Look, again, I don't want to repeat myself, but there's no question Elon played a very key role in Trump's reelection. Look, that's, you have to give the man his due. Hundreds of millions of dollars, what he did with X, restoring it. I can tell you, restoring it as a free speech platform, I was able to say things against Kamala, against Biden, against the Democrats, in favor of Trump, that I had been canceled or censored under the previous ownership of X. So there's no question. And look, Elon worked his tail off in Pennsylvania and Michigan and Wisconsin, and then, of course, with Doge and everything he did there. So there's no question about it. Elon Musk, and even Trump said, I don't know if anybody worked harder than Elon, outside of myself, obviously. He goes, the guy broke his back. And look, remember, Elon was, and in some ways is still a Democrat. I know he's broken from the Democratic Party, but philosophically, ideologically, he's much more of a Democrat than he is a conservative. He's more of a libertarian-style Democrat, but he's still, in some ways, a Democrat. And he took a lot of heat. He's hated by the left. They reviled this man. And look what they did to his company. Look what they're doing to Teslas, the Tesla dealerships. The man has 20 security guards around the clock. He's getting death threats nonstop. So I'm not going to deny everything that Elon did. But I think fundamentally, Betty, these simmering tensions, it was almost inevitable that it was going to boil over. Because I think it's not just that it's two alpha males. Trump fundamentally is a nationalist populist. Elon, even when he was a Democrat, he was a populist. Now as a Republican, he's a populist. Elon is more of a Democrat and much more of a libertarian. So, like, for example, Elon hates the tariffs completely. He's against the tariffs completely. So what I'm saying is you can see on many issues, they just don't agree. Now, they agree that Biden was horrible. They agree that Kamala's horrible. They agree that the Democrats are now horrible and pose an existential threat to the country. But what they want to do with power, they disagree. Not on everything, obviously, but on some very important issues. So in a way, this kind of, this division or this split between the two of them, it was almost inevitable. What breaks my heart is that it's become so public and so ugly and so unnecessarily nasty. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, let me ask you, do you think it's still possible for Donald Trump, President Trump, and Elon Musk to eventually, to patch things up, to make up? Or do you think now it's beyond the breach is so big and so wide and things were said that literally can't be unsaid? Is it now just too toxic of a relationship? And ultimately, who do you blame for this feud? Trump or Elon? 617-266-6868. Lines are loaded. Bill in Holbrook. Thanks for holding, Bill, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. Just a thought outside the box. You had mentioned before that Donald Trump plays three-dimensional chess. What if this is just another move? What if this is possibly a plan devised by Trump and Musk to get Musk back into the good graces of the Democrats?
Well, I've heard that theory. A lot of people are saying it's 4D chess, 5D chess, 9D chess. I'm just giving you my honest opinion. Here's the problem. I've spoken to people very close to Trump. Trump is livid. If this is a conspiracy, he's not in on it. Trump, according to what I heard, Trump is saying that the breach is quote unquote irreparable. Now, there may be a make-up phone call, but that's just going to be superficial. In other words, think about a very nasty family fight, and you say, well, show up for the wedding. You know, like just shake hands and, you know, that's it. Like just, you know, for the public. But basically it's gone. The relationship is over. Now Elon, I think, is now wanting to put more of an olive branch because he's the one that I think crossed the line. But I can just tell you this. Trump's people hate Elon. They feel betrayed. Trump feels betrayed. He says that the breach is irreparable. We'll see. And ultimately, I know many people are saying, well, this is a way to bring Democrats back to buy Teslas. They're not going to buy Teslas. They still hate the man. I mean, today he's the flavor of the month because they're using him to go after Trump. And they love the fact that the alliance has now been shattered. But they will never, ever forgive Elon Musk for getting Donald Trump elected. They'll never forgive him for that. So they're not going to buy his Teslas. And he's lost so much money already. I don't know if you've seen the Tesla share now is, what is it, down 14%? When Trump came out with his social media post, saying, yeah, I think we're going to get rid of these contracts and subsidies to Tesla. You know, Elon wants us to save money. We'll save money. So Elon's companies now are in big trouble. He's going to lose hundreds of billions of dollars. So that's why I think he's the one that, you know, said, yeah, maybe I should make peace. Because I think he woke up this morning and realized much of what I've worked for is going up in smoke. And I got to say one other thing. I don't want to harp on this, but when you accuse someone of being a pedophile, I don't know how you can walk that back. Now, I know some are saying, well, now the libs are demanding the release of the Epstein files. We're not going to see the Epstein files. I'm convinced of it now. We're never going to see the Epstein files. And so with the media and the Democrats, he's given them a huge weapon against Trump. For the rest of Trump's presidency, they're going to say Trump was accused of being in the Epstein files. Why? Well, Elon said it. He had no closer ally than Elon. So I think he's done, honestly, I think Elon has done tremendous damage to Trump. I think he's done tremendous damage to his public authority and image. I think he's done tremendous damage to MAGA. And he owes the president and, frankly, the country an apology. That's just my honest opinion. Bill, final word to you.
Well, Jeff, I hope that they do kiss and make up, of course, in a non-sexual way, because the two of these men together are a powerhouse that no one can stop.
And that's why the big winners, you're right, you're completely right. That's why I'm telling you the big winners are the Dems, the media, and the never-Trumpers. They have wanted this from day one. They love this. They're in political heaven right now. And to me, to see our enemies celebrating like this, that's why I know this was a big mistake. They've got to patch things up. Because together, you're right, they're unstoppable. Literally, they're unstoppable. Bill, thank you very much for that call. Again, you may disagree with me. I'm just giving you my honest opinion. 617-266-6868. Tom in Westford. Thanks for holding, Tom, and welcome.
Oh, thank you. Great show as usual.
Thank you, Tom.
I wonder if he had a breakdown. Maybe did he when Trump canceled the contracts? Is that when he came out really bad, saying bad things about Trump? And I hope Trump takes the high road. He shouldn't do what the Democrats want. Keep saying good things about Musk and don't say bad things, because he feeds the Democrats what they want. If he just stays nice and stays high road, even though it's tough, I think it's better, you know. But it's just awful because they got to get that bill passed. That bill, if it doesn't make it, like I said, it's going to ruin his whole presidency. They got to focus on that bill. Boy.
Oh, Tom, I'm with you all the way. And Tom, just to add to what you're saying, and this is why I mentioned this, you know, Musk for most of his life has been a Democrat. It's fine. Look, Reagan was a Democrat. Trump was a Democrat. The only reason why I'm mentioning this, when you see him go personal, and it began right when Trump said, Elon, I believe, is suffering from Trump derangement syndrome. Now, I played the cut. You know, some people come here and it's the glamour and they're the center of the action and there's so much attention and you wield so much power and then suddenly you leave and it's all gone. And he said some people embrace it and others get very hostile. They can't deal with it and they lash out at me. He goes, and it's like Trump derangement syndrome. He goes, I think maybe that's what Elon has. The moment Trump said that, Elon went ballistic. I mean, he went nuts. There's no other way to say it. It just got worse and worse. I mean, it was like tweet after tweet after. Everyone got worse than the other. Impeach him. New political party. We got to break with Trump completely. And then finally, the guy's on the Epstein list. And that's why they don't want to release it. So he went nuclear. It was so personal, so vindictive, so vicious. Tom, honestly, it's like the old Democrat in him came back. He argued for those series of tweets, the most damaging, the most personally inflammatory. It's like you saw, he argued the way the Democrats do. Personal, no evidence, slander, defamation. And it's almost like an ugly side to Elon that we hadn't seen before. Now really bubbled up to the surface. And it's like, boy, he's sounding, at least now with these attacks, he's sounding like a Democrat. Now, the cuts, he's not. The pork, he's not. So on the substance, he's not. I'm just saying, when things got personal between him and Trump, he sounded like Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer or Hillary Clinton or Obama or Bill and Sudbury. Like, I mean, they're vicious. And that's why I got angry. I mean, I legit got angry yesterday. And I said, where's your evidence? No. You're saying this guy's a pedophile? Where's your blanking evidence? You don't defame somebody like that. And plus, you honestly think that if he was in the Epstein files, that with the deep state gunning for him, the Democrats gunning for him, they wouldn't have released this over a decade ago? Of course they would have released it. Eric on Messenger, just very quick, because I want to take as many calls as possible. But Eric on Messenger, I thought, made a really good point. He said, I think, Jeff, maybe Trump should sue, for slander, for defamation. But the bigger point is, he goes, Trump should come out and say, so what evidence do you have that I'm in the Epstein files? Have you seen the Epstein files? And just point blank, I want to know, have you seen them? Because I want to see them. The whole country wants to see them. Now, I think that's a brilliant rebuttal. I think Eric is dead on. If Elon is now going to say he's in the Epstein files, then I think the logical follow-up is, well, okay, have you seen them? And if you've seen them, tell us, who's on the client list? You're saying it's Trump with no evidence, fine. Who else? Give us the names. We all want to know the names. Give us all the names. Have you seen the list? And it's going to be game, set, and match. Elon's going to have to completely back down because he didn't see the file. I guarantee it. He doesn't know who's in the... He has suspicions. He's heard rumors. And there's some people we're pretty much, 99.999999% sure, a la Bill Clinton or a la Bill Gates, because they've been seen coming and going back and forth to Epstein Island. So, yeah, there's some people we know are, barring a miracle, they're on the list. But so many other names. So have you seen it? And who's on the list? Come on, don't hold back. Unless you made it up. unless you were just really mad and really angry and you were really, you said, I want to, like a family fight. No, I'm going to really hurt him. Now, just super quick, we were warned when we adopted, both Ashton and Ava, that the adoption agency, you go through some courses and they said, look, this happens to every parent who's adopted children. Don't take it personally. When they become teenagers and they start to rebel and they're not mature, but they want to get, they're angry and they want to lash out, they always try to go for the line that is the most painful. That's what teenagers do. They always do this. Usually it's, I don't love you, or I hate you, or you're a horrible mom, whatever. You're a horrible dad. And you're like, how could you say that? They go with adopted children. They go, don't take it personally. They all say in their teenage rebellion phase, all of them, you're not my real father. You're not my real mother. In other words, they're going to say the one thing that they know will hurt you the most. Either just to lash out, to get attention, whatever. They go, but they don't mean it. They go, please remember that. They don't mean it. Now, I've already got my response ready. I've had it ready for years. Grace thinks I'm nuts. I've been telling her, I can't wait for them to use that line. Oh, really? I'm not your father, really? So when I did this for you, and this for you, and this for you, and this for you. So she says I'm nuts. She goes, Jeff, you're so funny. I'm like, no, I can't wait. I'm just like rubbing my hands together. When are they going to play the I'm not your real father card? I'm waiting. But my point being, I'm just surmising now, but if Elon wanted to hurt Trump, like a child almost, like a teenager, right, lashing out against his father, that's the way to do it. That's the way. That's the you're not my real father, as for an adopted child. You're on the Epstein list. You're on the, and that's why they're not releasing it. In other words, you're just as bad as all your other enemies. And that's why if Trump calls him out on it, I think Elon's going to have to admit he made it up. He lied. He made it up. Now, I could be wrong. I'm just giving you my opinion. 617-266-6868. Barbara in Abington. Thanks for holding, Barbara, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. I'm just calling because I think that Elon really resented being put to pasture, so to speak. I mean, this man has all the money in the world. He doesn't have to oversee his companies. He's got people doing that. So I think he was a little sour graped at the fact that Trump was letting him go. And then they started to have this little feud between them, like two kids. And then, of course, he wants to prove a point. I got you voted in. I'm the one that made you. So he's drawing that line. It's either him or it's me. So that people, if they take his side, he can say, see, I told you it was me that got him voted in, like he's going to win something. I don't know. What do you think?
I think there's a lot to what you're saying. I really do, Barbara. The other thing, this is the part that I find disturbing, okay? It's again, I don't want to go on about it, but the accusations of pedophilia and being an Epstein Island. But the other thing is this sense, I don't know, this arrogance, this hubris, this need for power. Not just that he got Trump elected, but where he says Republicans have to decide. It's either me or Trump. I mean, I can read you the tweet. I can read you the whole social media post. And he says, basically saying it's either me or him. Now pick a side. And in other words, this party is not big enough for the two of us. So either you're with Trump or you're with me. And again, he's like saying, and I know he's the president now, but he'll be gone in 3 years. Me, as he says, I'll be around for over 40 years. In other words, wink, wink, if you're smart, you better join me. If you know it's in the long-term self-interest, you better join me. Now, I'm looking at this and I'm like, whoa. There's a megalomania now component to this that I find really disturbing. Number one, nobody voted for you. I'm just stating the obvious. Number two, why isn't the party big enough for both of you? Why are you forcing people into one camp or another camp? Because by doing that, you're dividing the movement and you're dividing the party. That's not helping us. That's actually destroying us. And that to me shows that he's got a lust for power. He's got an ego that I think is almost like a God complex. And then you add that to the, hey, I made you. I mean, that's basically what he's saying. I got you elected. I mean, he openly said it. I got you. Without me, you would not be president of the United States. Without me, you wouldn't even have Republican control of the House and Republican control of Congress. In other words, you owe me. Hey, I made you, buddy. I made you. So it's almost like if I say it's not a good bill, then when I say jump, you better say how high. I run this party. I run this administration, not you. Why? Because I got you in power. So, and then what he's basically saying, just to finish everything, Barbara, he's basically saying, I made you and I can break you. In other words, like an oligarch, like in Eastern Europe. That's how they are. I'm telling you, I know. Hey, Volodymyr. I mean, that's how they talk to Zelensky. Hey, don't forget to put you in power. Hey, I made you, and I can break you. In other words, buddy, you better toe the line. Well, you don't want to toe the line? Okay. Well, it's either him or me. Pick. And essentially, Elon is saying, who's the richest man in the world? Me. Who's the guy that can run any primary campaign and destroy people? Me. Who's going to be around for decades? This guy's pushing 80. Hey, who's the future of this party? Me. So you better kiss my ring. That's the part, that's the ugly side of Elon that I think has come out over the last 24 hours. I don't like it. I really don't like it. Final word to you, Barbara.
You're exactly right, Jeff. I mean, I think he wants to prove a point. He wants to say, see, I told you it was me. Come on, this guy doesn't need any more money. He doesn't need to overlook his companies. He's got people doing all of this. It was what he had while he was in the White House. And now he's not in the White House. And as a retaliatory type of jab that he's poking at Trump, saying all of these negative things, and then on top of it, he wants to prove it. I'm the one that got you in there. It's either me or him. He's going to be gone in 3.5 years, but I'm going to be here for 40 years, indicating that he'll be the one that will get other people voted into office and so forth and so on. I just think he's having a little temper tantrum, and he has a bit of sour grapes. And I think that Trump shouldn't even address it. I think if he addresses it, it just keeps on going. If he ignores it, it goes away. And that would probably bug Elon even more, that he can't get under Trump's skin.
Ah, really good point. Oh, Barbara, really good call. You know what? I agree with you. If he ignores them, think about it. If you're dealing with a teenager who's, lashing out in a temper tantrum, what's the one thing the teenager doesn't want you to do? Just say, okay. Okay. What do you mean? You're not mad? No. Well, hold on. What? I didn't get under your skin? No. Hold on. You're not reacting to me? I didn't. No. Think about it. That really drives him nuts. Barbara, outstanding call. Thank you very much. 617-266-6868. But she's right. Essentially what Elon was telling Trump is and the Republican Party, it's either him or me. It's either him or me. Take your pick. And again, I'm like, no, buddy, you crossed the line. You crossed the line. Look, I'll tell you what Grace said again last night. We were talking about it, and I'll leave out some of the F-bombs because she was very mad at Elon as well. But basically, who the F does he think he is? Like, of course, he played a big role. He played an important role. There's no question. And, you know, he's a great American entrepreneur and an inventor. But, whoa, you want to talk about, you know, your pride, you know, as they say, pride cometh before the fall. You want to talk about a big swollen head. You want to talk about arrogance. And I guess when you have that much money and you're the wealthiest man in the world and you can spend almost unlimited and you have had victory after victory primarying this person, primarying that person, maybe after a while you do think you can make or break anybody, including the president. But to say it publicly, that's another thing. Like, even if you wield that kind of tremendous power, to be so open and brazen about it, honestly, again, I could be wrong. I think the guy's on drugs. Or, let me just quickly say this. Don't take my word for it. Look at Elon over the last 3 to 4 months, 6 months. Look at the pressure of the campaign to get Trump elected. What's happened to his businesses, the tremendous blowback, the terrorism against him, against Teslas, against Tesla dealerships. He's also got multiple very young children. Trust me, I've had children who are that young. It's not an easy time. You don't sleep much. Your wife doesn't sleep much. So you combine his young family with all of the business pressures, with the political pressure, with all of the work of Doge, with the relentless attacks against him. He's aged. I mean, he literally looks 10 years older, like within 6 months. Just look at Elon, June of last year. Just go Elon Musk. Don't take my word for it. Google pictures or photos, Elon, June 2024. And then the latest picture of Elon now. You're going to say, wow. Wow. He's 10 years older. So you can see that the strain has clearly gotten to this guy. There's no question. And again, the reports of the ketamine abuse. So I don't know if it's the strain. I don't know if it's the pressure, the cumulative lack of sleep, the slight mental breakdown, the Asperger's, or the fact that the guy's abusing ketamine. But I'm looking at this, I'm like, this dude, even if you believe what you're saying, you don't put it out on X. Like, hell, look, I'm telling you, even these Eastern European oligarchs, yes, they tell you in private, I made you, I can break you. But they don't brag about it in public. 617-266-6868. Skippy in South Boston. Thanks for holding, Skippy, and welcome.
Hello, Jeff.
Hi, Skippy.
I remember several months ago when Musk started ingratiating himself with Trump. Steve Bannon warned him. He says, watch out, because Donald Musk is a snake. He's going to bite you. And Bannon was stifled. He didn't have nothing sense. I think it's coming true. This guy is a snake. And he's not only a snake. He's like one of those cuckoo birds. You know what they do? The mother bird flies out, then it flies into the nest, starts pushing the other birds out. I think he was trying to get in between Vance and Rubio. He wanted to be close to the president. And he produced. He's like the devil. The devil is brilliant, but he's also devious. He came through with that Doge stuff, but I think he wanted more. He wanted to be like co-president. And he was and I think Trump felt that. He wants to talk about policy and everything else, and the big bad bill, and beautiful bill, and all that. He had to go, and so he's doing this. But the worst thing he didn't give a damn about our country. He just about his own advancement. And that thing calling Trump a pedophile, that's bad enough. But then to add insult to injury, he says, I'm going to prove it in the future. He just served up the Democrats a gigantic crap sandwich they're all going to gladly eat, and they're going to be spreading that around for the rest of his 3 years.
Well, Skippy, I can just tell you this. and this you can take to the bank. Trump's top advisors felt, I got to be careful how I couch this, that, quote, and this is what was said, that that Elon didn't know his place. That he would always tell Rubio what to do, J.D. Vance what to do, Lutnick what to do, Bessent what to do, Hegseth what to do. Now, again, Musk would defend himself and say, well, I had a portfolio from Trump to cut all of this waste, fraud, and abuse in every department, in every agency. And nobody wants to cut in their own agency. Everybody wants to cut in another agency. So I'm just going to, to be fair to Elon, but, you're mentioning how he saw himself as a co-president. They felt that. They resented it. And they kept telling the president this. Hey, this guy thinks he's your equal. This guy thinks that we answer to him and to you, not just to you. And we don't like it because you're the president. You appointed us. You were elected. You won. Yes, he helped, but nobody elected him. So there was a sense in the White. That's why there was. Look, I'm telling you, there was relief when he left last Friday. They're like, oh, they admit he's a great guy in terms of he's a phenomenal worker. He found a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse. They say he put together a very impressive team. They go, look, he's got tremendous talents. No one denies that. But they were relieved when they say when he left, they're like, okay, because you don't have this egomaniac who thinks he's co-president meddling in everybody's internal affairs and business. So it goes exactly to what you're saying, Skippy. Now, I don't know if you've seen Bannon lately now, but Bannon now has come out and said that Trump should, and I think Bannon's going too far, but you may agree, you may disagree. Bannon now says that Trump should revoke Elon's visa, his citizenship, my bad. That Bannon should that Trump should revoke Elon Musk's citizenship and basically kick him back to South Africa. That Musk, he believes, is a globalist traitor who wanted to infiltrate the Trump administration, and that now he's doing tremendous damage to the movement, to the presidency, and to the country. And that he basically now says, you know what? The guy's a snake. Revoke his citizenship. Kick him out. Now, I personally think that's going way too far. I mean, maybe don't have much to do with him. Maybe keep him at arm's length. If you could patch things up, I think it would be good for the country, or maybe on a superficial level. But don't ever bring him back into the administration. And hopefully stop, attacking each other. I don't think we should kick him out of the country, but this is how badly burned Bannon feels. And he says this is how badly Musk has burned Trump and the administration. Final word to you, Skippy.
Well, bottom line is his own father don't talk to him. That sort of tells a lot. Or maybe he knows he spawned a snake. I don't think he could ever make up these people. They must be listening to too many, watching too many soap operas. There's no way. What he said about Trump calling him a pedophile and saying I'm going to prove it, he just gave a ton of ammunition to the Democrats, and they're just going to be spewing it. It's all craziness. There's no way. How could you trust this guy?
Skippy, honestly, that's exactly that. I would feel the exact same way. Publicly, if someone calls me a pedophile, I'm like, and how do we fix this relationship? Now, okay, for the good of the country, and, okay, fine. I'll talk to you. If I see you in public, I'll shake your hand. I'm not going to wage a vendetta against you. So superficially, we can patch things up, but I would never trust this guy again. Basically, yeah, let's not take any more of his calls. What are your opinion on Elon? I hope he has a nice life. I wish him all the best. But I would never trust him again.
Musk and President Trump on Twitter right now.
Oh, man, the girls are fighting, aren't they? I would say that this was something that was a long time coming, where we've been seeing that these two huge egos were not long for being together in this world as friends. And so I think this breakup we've been seeing a long time coming, but we'll see what the impacts are of it legislatively.
That, of course, was Alexandria Fidel Castro Cortez, AOC. They're loving it. Oh, the Democrats, the media, they are loving this. They're loving this. They can't get enough of it. They want this to go on and on. Why? Because they see MAGA now fighting with each other, divided, feuding. The alliance, at least for now, between Trump and Elon shattered. And this is what they've always wanted, and they want this to go on and on and on. 9:20 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's bulldozer, 617-266-6868. So let me ask you, do you think they should patch things up? Will they make up? Should they make up? 617-266-6868. Brian in Situate. Thanks for holding, Brian, and welcome.
I am a culture guy at heart, and culture is one of the fundamental things at the root of this Trump-Elon thing and more broadly, the big, beautiful bill. I have a quick story, if you don't mind, that will help illustrate, and maybe you can help me connect the dots. But my wife, she runs a home daycare. We live in Situate. She goes to the Situate Public Library to get some books to read to the children about Flag Day coming up in the month of June. Not a single book can be found. Everywhere on display, Pride books. I'm talking the children's section, 9 and under, in Juneteenth books, all over the place on display. And that, to me, is the culture that Trump is changing by bringing masculinity back to the military, by going away from the trans agenda, the pride agenda. And that, to me, is the reason why you have to support the big, beautiful bill. Now, Elon is not a culture guy. He is a libertarian, as you pointed out earlier. And he's the type of guy who would probably say fiscally conservative, socially liberal, small government-minded. There's no such thing as a small American government at this point. Trump knows that. Trump's doing something about that, but you need the power to change the culture.
Brian, I think you're dead on. I couldn't have said it better myself. Sorry, I don't mean, you've connected all the dots. I don't, sorry, but I mean, what dots do you want me to connect? You've connected them. You've done a great job connecting them.
I
mean, really, I should call you Sherlock for Sherlock Holmes. I'm serious. Okay. You're not Brian, you're Sherlock. But
that's at the root of the whole issue, and that's why we need Trump. And I tried to call earlier in the week when you were talking about the bill, and that's the reason why I support it. I would love to see more spending slashed. I like the stuff that Musk did, but at the end of the day, Trump's presidency is over if the bill doesn't pass.
Oh, I agree.
So.
I agree.
And then he can't control the culture, and we lose the culture, and the kids coming up afterwards are going to be indoctrinated in this stuff, and it will never change. That's my fear.
Yeah, no, I agree. And look, again, I don't want to keep spinning my wheels on this, but it seems to me that the power went to Elon Musk's head. And he played a very important role. He got Trump elected. He played a very important role, obviously, with Doge. He had an outsized influence in his administration. And it's almost, he lives in a bubble to begin with. He's an extremely wealthy man, the wealthiest man in the world. He's always been known as an eccentric. There's no secret there. He's got Asperger's. His personal life is a mess. I'm not trying to dump on the guy. I'm just being honest. What is he? Multiple wives, multiple women, children with multiple different women. What is he got? 14, 15 kids? I could just go on. So, he's got, you want to talk about a culture, the culture, his personal family culture is a mess. So he's got issues relating to people, getting along with people. So there's a lot going on. There's baggage with Elon, but look, that's typical of very wealthy people and even geniuses. And he is in some ways a genius. There's no question. But at this point, if he doesn't see, it's either the big, beautiful bill or it's nothing. Now, you can push for changes to fix it, reform it, get rid of some of the spending. But in the end, and I think that's why Trump's going to get it through, fingers crossed. I think Republicans, if they have half a brain, are going to realize if we kill this bill, as Elon is asking, we're not going to come back. It's been months and months and months that they've put this thing together. Trump's presidency is going to be in free fall. There's no coming back. So, do you want to blow up everything that Trump has worked for? No. They've got to, in the end, pass the bill. So, I'm with you. Brian/Sherlock. Brian, thank you very much for that call. I appreciate it. Judy in Beverly. Thanks for holding, Judy, and welcome.
Hello. I take so much of this on a psychological level. I think the other points are all valid too. The gifts of both Trump and Elon Musk are immeasurable for our country. That stands. That's true. Nobody can take that away from them or us. And I think that Elon seems to be having a bit of a nervous breakdown, also a tantrum. And I think Trump should take the high road. I don't want them to destroy each other, even if they end up on opposite sides. I think Trump can let God work through him at a personal level with Elon. He has a lot of issues to work through. And I think that Trump should avoid the below-the-belt comments. They don't help. And I think Trump should just get on.
Yeah, with being with being president, and he's got to get this bill passed. 617-266-6868. Okay, we're going to go right back to the blazing phone lines. But first, joining us now, as she always does at this time, the co-founder, president, CEO of Kelly Financial Services. And yes, that is her wonderful name, Kelly. Kelly, how are you?
Good morning, Jeff. I am good. Retirement isn't just about money. It's about meaning. At Kelly Financial Services, we believe the happiest retirees have more than just a portfolio. They have good health. They have companionship. They have a purpose, and they live with gratitude. The happiest retirees never stop learning. They never stop dreaming. That's why we created our free guide, 6 Secrets to a Happy Retirement. It's packed with insights to help you build a life full of purpose, comfort, and peace of mind. Whether you're dreaming of backyard adventures, travel, volunteering, or just more time with family, this guide is for you. To get your copy or to schedule a conversation with one of our trusted advisors, give us a call or email kelly@kellyfinancial.org. Jeff, I will continue this conversation with our Kelly advisors tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on Safe Money Strategies Radio. Do tune in or go to our website for our radio rewind. Jeff, have a wonderful weekend. My best to Grace and the kiddos.
Have a wonderful weekend as well, Kelly. Please give my best to everyone at Kelly Financial. And again, to schedule your free consultation or to get your free copy of the guide, call 888-800-1881. 888-800-1881, or you can email Kelly directly, kelly@kellyfinancial.org, kelly@kellyfinancial.org. Okay, this is breaking, absolute latest that we're getting now on the Trump-Elon feud. According to Fox News, and in particular Peter Doocy, one of their White House correspondents, Trump now has told his aides, do you remember he bought a beautiful Tesla? This was maybe, was it a month ago? Don't quote me on this. 6 weeks ago, 2 months ago. Remember, whatever, a month or 2 months ago, when Tesla cars were getting keyed and damaged and firebombed. So to show support for Tesla, Trump bought a Tesla. Well, Trump now has told his aides the Tesla that he bought, he's either going to sell or just give it away. But he's so disgusted with Elon, he doesn't even want to keep the Tesla that he bought from Elon Musk. He either wants to sell it for a song, for basically nothing, or just give it away. Furthermore, the talk about them having a phone call today. Trump is livid. He feels personally betrayed by Elon. He says at this point there's not much for us to say to each other. And he has now told his aides to tell the media there will be no make-up phone call. There'll be no phone call of any kind. Now, this may change. This is a very volatile situation. But he says there will be no phone call. Maybe some staffers will call Elon and try to smooth things over a little bit or lay the groundwork for a potential phone call. But as things stand today, he's selling or getting rid of the Tesla, and he's not picking up the phone with Elon Musk. So this feud is going to keep going. 617-266-6868 is the number. So, knowing this, let me ask you, what should Trump do now? Is this feud, is it bridgeable? Will they make up? In fact, let me repeat the poll question. It's the Kuhner Country poll question of the day, sponsored by Mario's, Mario's Roofing, Siding, and Windows. Will Elon and Trump make up? A, yes. B, no. You know my position on this. I think the answer is no. I'm hoping for yes. I want yes. I don't know if you can bridge this. I don't. So, I mean, personally, I'd be a no on this, but hey, anything can happen. But I want to hear from you. You can vote on our webpage, wrko.com/Kuhner, wrko.com/Kuhner, KUHN is in national ER. And as always, you can vote on X. I am very active on X, at the Kuhner Report, at the Kuhner Report, all one word, KUHNER. George in Salem. Thanks for holding, George, and welcome.
Hold on a second here. Anyway, I guess most people can't see the forest from the trees. While they're playing 3D chess, we're playing checkers. This is my take on what's going on. I think Elon has done so much for this country. He donated millions of dollars to Trump. And he's helped with his Doge crew, which is still there. Trump realized that Elon was under attack from the media and from the libs. So I think they came up with a plan, Trump mostly, to help Elon. And the only way that he could help him is if they came up with a scheme that they're having a blowout and they're no longer friends and he's barred from the White House. Now, if you listen, all the libs are all giddy and smiling and happy with open arms, taking Elon back to their bosom, while the Republicans are in shock now. So now what's going to happen is there won't be any more keying of Teslas. There won't be any more burning of dealerships, and no more threats on most importantly, his family and himself. So he'll be able to get back to life, a normal life as he had before. That's my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, I hope you're right. I hope this is part of some larger plan. But look, his stock is dropping like a stone. And yeah, the Dems are celebrating because the two men that came together for an historic election, and then the man, Elon Musk, who led Doge, which uncovered massive corruption and fraud and abuse throughout the entire government, is now openly feuding with the president to the point now that it's jeopardizing everything that he accomplished under Doge. And so, yeah, of course they're giddy. The question is, are they going to buy a Tesla? And I don't think they will. It may stop the keying. It may stop the firebombing. Yes. But look, I'll tell you this, from what I'm judging from the libs that listen to this show, they're happy that they're fighting, but they say, we'll never forgive we'll never forgive Elon for electing Trump or for helping to elect Trump. So, if this is his master plan, I don't know. I don't think it's going to work. And I don't know if calling the president of the United States essentially a pedophile. Now, people are saying, well, now the libs and the Dems are demanding that the files be released. But they're assuming that the files will be released. I don't think they will. I think that ship has sailed. I think Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino have told us as clearly as they can, they're not going to release the files. They keep delaying and delaying and delaying and delaying. So, again, George, I hope you're right. This feud seems to me very, very real. And I can tell you this, if it is a conspiracy, it's literally then between these two men. Because the aides around Trump are saying he's livid. Trump hates him now. Trump feels badly betrayed and burned. So maybe he's the world's greatest actor, but something tells me, no, it's a feud. I mean, again, I could be wrong. I'm just giving you my opinion. George, thank you. I really appreciate it. 617-266-6868. 617-266-6868. Okay, let's go right to Tom, red, white, and blue dynamite baby in New Jersey. Thanks for holding, Tom, and as always, welcome.
Jeff Kuhner, the grand exalted mystic ruler of conservative talk radio, and the man who never took the 30 pieces of silver, that defines red, white, and blue dynamite, baby.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Hey,
Tom, I got to ask you, what do you make of this feud between Elon and Trump?
Hey, Jeff, it's got me quite upset. It really does, because if these two men would put God and country first, there'd be no dispute. And Jeff, we have to cut as long as we're fighting. And that's what we put Donald Trump in office for, that and many other reasons. So I understand Musk's frustration, but Jeff, it's not like running a household. These things don't happen overnight. Hey, is the Department of Education going to get cut? I don't think so. So a lot of it is BS. So it is a frustrating situation. So I understand Musk's frustration, but we have to take progress where we can get it, and pray for the best, and pray we get there. And Jeff, God forbid if he's on that, if some of our friends end up on that Epstein list, that would be pretty tragic. And I don't like when I hear stuff like that. It worries me on top of worry.
It would be devastating. I mean, there's no question. It would be absolutely devastating. And so now, again, my position. I think Elon just lashed out at Trump, wanted to hurt him. That's why he said it. But that is one hell of an explosive allegation. I agree. And look, I agree with many. I agree with Bannon and so many other of Trump's allies. Trump has to come out and vigorously, I mean, without the shadow of a doubt, forcefully deny this, and even have Pam Bondi come out and say, look, I've looked at the files. Trump's not in it. Like, move on. Because this is going to fester and fester and fester. I'm with you all the way, Tom. Tom, as always, have a great weekend, and thank you for that call. Jack in Southborough. Thanks for holding, Jack, and welcome.
All right, here we go, Jeff. Picture this. Las Vegas, Nevada. Barrett Jackson auctioning off the Trump Tesla. and big fundraiser for reluctant Republican senators and congressmen to vote for the big deal. Then, to top it off, Elon and Trump with the boxing gloves on for $100,000. You get a picture with the two of them in the ring in Las Vegas. Adelson and Wynn throw in a couple of million extra for entertainment purposes, and you got a big fundraiser for all the reluctant congressmen and senators who don't want to vote for the big deal.
Wow. So, Jack, I get the sense you think this is all, in other words, this is all sort of kabuki theater, that they're pretending to feud, and this helps both of them. It helps Elon with liberals who hate him, maybe get Tesla, get them buying Teslas again, and it gets Trump to be able to raise money and help, maybe sweeten the pot for some of these senators that don't want to vote for the big, beautiful bill. And this way, everybody wins, correct?
I think you got it. And do you know the name Stephen Miller?
Yes, of course.
Do you know who his wife just went to work for?
Elon Musk.
Yes. Doesn't that strike you a little unique that they'd be so angry at Trump and Miller's wife went to work for Musk?
Well, I mean, Jack, I got to be careful. Did you notice the black eye on Elon last Friday? Trump even made a point of it. He was saying, he made it at the press conference as well. He said, he came in and I treated him well, even though he had a black eye. And then Trump said, I even offered him makeup. And Elon said, no, I don't want the makeup. So Trump was pointing out that, well, the last time I saw him in the Oval Office, he had a black eye. Well, the rumor is, so her going to work for Musk may have nothing to do with kabuki theater, if you get my double meaning. Because somebody got punched in the face. You follow me here, Jack? Anyway, I don't want to say more because it's just a rumor. But anyway, Trump did point to it like, did you see the black eye? Like he's almost like wink, wink. Like, did you see that? Huh? And I don't know. You don't want to cover it up. I don't know what his problem is. But yeah, that is true. Stephen Miller's wife is going to work for Elon. Take it for what it's worth. Frank in Bedford. Thanks for holding, Frank, and welcome.
Thank you for giving me a call. Update on the oil industry. It's still sliding. Okay, a couple of things. One, President Trump talked about Elon Musk's island a long time ago. You even had somebody on about it. He explained that he's in a lot of pictures and so forth and pointed toward, so you can see Queen England's family that go over there. They know what's going on. That was all over the internet. They know what's the diddling of the kids over there. Now let's get on to Elon Musk. His attitude alone speaks for itself. President Trump's had a lot of people in his staff there that are against him and are part of the Illuminati. That black eye is all over the internet. You talked about black eye about a year ago with some people that was spot. There's a club called Black Eye Club. And guess what they indoctrinated? People into the Illuminati, and you got pictures of all sorts of people in Congress that have a black eye. Do your research and see what you think, people.
So, Frank, what you're saying is that Elon's black eye is because he's part of the Illuminati, and that this is like their tell or their signal, their sign. Yeah, I don't think so, Frank. But, I don't know what to say, but it's an interesting theory, but I don't buy it. But, Frank, hey, what better way to end the show, huh? It's all about the Illuminati. That's what it's all about, the feud between Elon and Trump. All right, on that, I got to go. Bye-bye.